Good morning. Welcome to the 153rd Annual Congregational Meeting of the First Unitarian Church of Omaha. I'm Sherry Woodbury, the church's settled minister. Whether you are attending online or in person, we are glad you have chosen to join us on this fine spring morning. A special welcome to any visitors who've ventured here on this particular day. This congregation is a community of all ages and abilities. It is a community with a rainbow of gender and sexual identities. It is a community of diverse cultural and class backgrounds. We draw from many sources of inspiration and share common liberal religious values. Whoever you may be, we welcome you to bring your whole self into this community. While only members in good standing may vote, all are welcome to observe this meeting, and we will resume our regular worship services next week. Each week, we acknowledge that where we meet for worship as the First Unitarian Church of Omaha is the land of the Omaha Oto Nations, and that Indigenous people in the wider community have become marginalized and made invisible. May we recognize their presence among us and work with them to resolve issues like poverty, displaced children, and the missing and murdered Indigenous women, the MMIW. Note that we will not be having coffee hour or Zoom breakout groups after the meeting today, and starting next week, we'll be streaming on YouTube exclusively. I also have a special announcement to share from our youth group. This is exciting, so drum roll if you want to join me. Do you have a secret talent you've been dying to show off? A stunning singing voice, bedazzling art, being able to tie 10 cherries into a knot while doing the hula? Then we recommend you join the YRUU Talent Show on Friday, June 3rd. The talent show will be a collaboration between the first and second UU churches. All ages are welcome to sign up and show off their talents. Is your talent juggling flaming swords? Sadly, we checked, and the church has banned us from doing this indoors. So instead, you can submit acts via video file. If you'd like to submit art pieces, both digital and physical art will be accepted. This is a free will donation event taking place both in person and online via Zoom. The funds we raise from this event on June 3rd will be donated to the Afghan Refugee Project to purchase a season pass to the zoo or some other summer activity for our sponsored family. The deadline for signing up or submitting an act is May 23rd. For more information about the talent show, a sign-up link, and the email for digital submissions, see last Friday's church e-news. We hope you'll consider sharing your talents with us. At this time, I invite forward Catherine Plumley, the president of the Board of Trustees, to light the chalice before we properly open this morning's annual meeting.
Thank you, Sherry. Good morning. Sorry. My name is Catherine Plumley, and I am your current board president for the next few minutes. And I officially call to order the 153rd annual meeting of the First Unitarian Church of Omaha. I'm like double timing Zoom and all this stuff. So please be patient. Where did my Zoom go? Oh, did I get kicked out? I might have gotten kicked out. We're winging it, guys. You remember the January meeting? I brought a hammer because couldn't find the gavel. Yeah, Kat had it, so that was important. Yes. While we wait for all this to get figured out and made co-host so I can share my screen and show you the agenda, we can go ahead and confirm quorum. So Secretary Bruce Godfrey, do we have quorum? Thank you. Awesome. Next, we can confirm appoint our parliamentarian, Mr. Dave Richardson. Are you willing to be our parliamentarian today? Awesome. Thank you. I saw a wave. I didn't hear anything. It's all good. All right. It looks like I can share my screen now. And then let's see. Maybe. Oliver, can we get the screen share up on the thing? All of this too. I would like us to confirm our covenant of right relations, which hopefully you can see. But if you can speak this with me, and those at home, feel free to read it off your screen. This is our covenant of right relations. I like to confirm at least yearly at our meetings. So, we, the Congregation of First Unitarian Church of Omaha, covenant together to create a religious community where we can freely explore our values and foster diversity as a source of communal strength, to build healthy relationships, seeking to understand each other and respect our differences, to listen deeply and endeavor to communicate directly, honestly, and compassionately, particularly when we are in conflict, to do our best to make amends when we have hurt each other, even unintentionally, to learn from our mistakes, to forgive, and to reconnect in a spirit of understanding and commitment. Thank you, everyone. All right, so next on the agenda is a little bit of Zoom housekeeping. I would like to say we are broadcasting Zoom. We have folks joining us via Zoom and as well as on YouTube. But I want to share with our YouTube visitors that if you are a member joining via YouTube and you would like to vote, we are only voting via Zoom poll or in this room today. So if you would like to vote, please join Zoom. And we'll be voting that way. So, quick recap for a little bit of Zoom housekeeping. Please keep yourself muted. Please turn on your video. We would love to see your face. At some point, if there's discussion regarding any of the topics today, we will have discussion in person, but as well, we would like folks on Zoom to feel like they can join as well, and they will be broadcast up on the screen. Open your participants list, open your chat box there on the toolbar. Here is an example from a mobile device, how to open those participants in chat. Also, for folks on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature if you would like to be called upon to speak, and you will be broadcast here in the sanctuary. Zoom helpers, please keep an eye on that so we can keep track of everybody. Here's an example where to do that on mobile. Click participants, raise your hand. And so now we will be having a Zoom practice poll. Thank you for your patience, everyone in the room who is not doing any of this. So you'll recall that if you are multiple member household, we will have voting 2 people per device. If you are a single user, please answer the first question with your answer and answer not applicable on the second question. 2 users, user 1 answers the first question, user 2 answer the second question. Everyone must submit, or you must answer all the questions in order to submit. And don't forget, sometimes the submit button is hidden in the pop-up windows. You'll need to scroll up to find that submit button. So what we will do right now is take a quick practice poll. And we can participate in person too, because we need to practice. So, for those of you in the room, the practice poll is, who is your favorite Tonight Show host? Steve Allen, Jack Parr, Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, or Jimmy Fallon? I'm just realizing now that that's kind of a big long list for folks in the room to vote on. Who? Stephen Colbert? That's the Late Show, or what? That's the other one. Steve Allen, raise your hands. All right. Sorry, there's no votes coming in for Steve Allen online. Jack Parr? Anyone? No. Johnny Carson? Okay. He has the most votes on Zoom right now, too. Jay Leno? Okay. Conan O'Brien? Jimmy Fallon? Okay. Unscientifically, the poll in the room is matching the poll online. So I'm going to end the poll. Johnny Carson won. Hometown boy. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your patience in here and for online for practicing that. Next, as I pull up my agenda, we will have approval of the approval of the minutes from the 152nd annual meeting. That is located in the annual report packet that you all, some copies are floating around the room. It was sent out via e-blast, etc. For this, we will take a consent agenda, meaning the minutes are approved unless there is an objection. So, does anyone object to the approval of the annual meeting minutes from May 16th, 2021? Let me see. I see no raised hands. I see no comments in Zoom. Nothing in here. With that, the annual meeting minutes of the 152nd meeting is approved. Thank you. Same thing, approval of the minutes from the mid-year meeting, which occurred on January 9th, 2022. Consent agenda, minutes are approved unless there is an objection. So does anyone object to the approval of the mid-year meeting minutes? I see and hear no objections in the room. And I see and hear no objections from Zoom. So those minutes are approved. Thanks. Easy voting, you guys. See? We make it easy for you guys. All right. Next, we have our annual reports. So the majority of reports you can find, again, in the meeting packet. But I know that Reverend Sherry has an announcement, and then I'll do the president's report. So, Reverend Sherry.
We bring you this breaking news. Melissa Gibson is our new membership coordinator. Come on down. This is her second or third official day on the job, I think. She accepted on Tuesday. So we are very happy to have her here in the building with us and as part of our community. Melissa has a strong history of lay leadership in her home congregation, which is in Shreveport, Louisiana. She did all kinds of things there, including treasurer and pledge drive. She also is a low residency student at Star King, which is one of our UU seminaries. And she moved to the Omaha area during the pandemic, so she's still getting to know the area with her family, husband, and 3 school-aged children, one of whom is active in our youth group. Melissa stood out to our hiring team with her energetic personality and knowledge and enthusiasm for Unitarian Universalism. As our part-time membership coordinator, she'll be organizing visitor and membership classes and coordinating the new member joining process. Please introduce yourself to Melissa when you have the opportunity, and welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, and welcome, Melissa. For the president's report, y'all might notice that there's not one in the book because I didn't write one, because that's just how I roll. So, in the meantime, I was just going to give a shout out to a few folks who really made this year possible. And I feel like this is an Oscar speech where I'm like gonna name all these people and then not that I'm winning an Oscar, you guys. But I did want to thank first and foremost the board for this incredible year. It's been still a pandemic. We met in person. We met outside in September, and then we didn't meet together outside till a couple weeks ago or last week. But we came together as a team, and we made a lot of things happen this year. Some of which I want to thank the folks on our ad hoc committee teams. So, and I know a lot of this was established in the previous year, but a lot of work has been done this year as well with our reopening task force, our multimedia task force. This year we really worked on improving our streaming capabilities and streaming services. So big shout out to all the cameras and all the equipment and all the people who made that possible. I want to thank our hiring teams because we did hire 2 new people this year. We have Oliver here helping with tech, and then Melissa who just joined us. In addition, we've had a lot of building issues this year. Our roof was leaking. It leaked into our basement. There was an accident. Don't know if you noticed. The window missing in the nursery. So just a lot of work and effort has been put into that this year by many people as well. I also would just like to thank all of our staff who I didn't mention individually, but then also our team leads and keeping our teams together and functioning during this roller coaster year. I don't know. Are we meeting? Are we not? Are we masking? Are we not? I don't know, but we're here. So big thank you and shout out to everyone who kept this church happening. And with that, I will ask our treasurer, another big shout out to a very important member of our church, our treasurer, Walt Jestat, to come propose a budget.
Well, thank you. The annual report has a summary of our financial results for the year that ended at last year's meeting, but little information about the year that just ended, and so I'll give you a brief summary of that, as much as we know. We had a successful stewardship campaign last year with a goal that we reached of $270,000. Our actual contributions to pledges were less than that, but we expect that we're going to end up with a deficit within the range that we had budgeted, we budgeted a deficit of $10,000, and I think when we get a final result for the year that ended April 30, we'll be in about that range. So I think overall it was a successful year. We benefited this past year by having money from the federal government of almost $37,000. We won't have that in the year that we're starting now. This year's stewardship campaign for the year that's starting now was sort of a mixed bag. We had a number of pledges that increased, more than 50. We had about 50 pledges that stayed the same, and many fewer pledges that actually decreased. We know that everybody's not in a position to increase, so overall we did well. But we had a number of people who left during the year and weren't pledging this year. That was one of the reasons we had a lower than expected pledge result for the year just ended. We did not have those people contributing this year to the year we're starting. We also had a number of people we were unable to reach during the pledge campaign through personal emails, phone calls, messages, whatever. We had an unusual number of people who have not yet pledged. At the moment, we had a pledge goal of $300,000. We needed that increase from $270,000 to make up for the fact that we don't have federal money coming in, which won't happen again, presumably. And as I look at the numbers right now, we're well below the $300,000. So the budget that's in the final pages of your report, starting at about page 40, I believe, has a budget that projected a pledge income of $270,000, a reduction of $30,000 to the number that we had last year. And I'll go through that budget cut in a moment. But the problem is that we didn't end up at $270,000. We are currently at $257,069 with 119 pledges. That's lower than last year and a lower number of pledges than we've had for several years. I expect to get to 260. I know where some of those pledges are that people have always pledged that we haven't seen yet this year. We will get them, but we're probably not going to get to 270. So I think we're at risk of not making the budget that we have in the report. I'm going to ask for approval of that budget anyway in a second, and then we can discuss it after we get a second for that motion. But as I described in the written report, we moved down to 270 by increasing deficit spending by $12,000. We cut the budget itself by $18,000. So there's some compromises going on there in a number of ways. And since one of the only expenses in our budget, the biggest expense in our budget is not a payroll item, which payroll accounts for like 76% of our budget, and we weren't going to go there in terms of payroll reductions. We cut the budget for the EUA contributions with Sherry's consent by 50%, and we cut some of the money for training, which was sort of optional money, made some other reductions in areas that are hard to estimate, but some of those may come back to haunt us during the year. We cut the maintenance budget because it looked like we were not spending as much as we had anticipated there, but then we had a late maintenance charge of about $9,000 for repainting that wasn't there when I made the budget assumptions. If we have unusual maintenance costs during this coming year, we're going to have to go to the Preserve Our Building Fund to get that money because we don't have as much budgeted as perhaps we ought to. So I'm proposing that we approve a budget with this pledge goal of $270,000, even though we're not there. We have the option of an auxiliary campaign in the fall, target those who have not pledged at all, and Another option is that we may end up with bigger contributions than we had pledges, which happened in the year just past. Or we may have other things that take place. So I'm being optimistic basically by assuming we're going to be okay. If we're not okay and we run a bigger deficit, then we'll go over the $40,000 deficit that's currently in the budget. If we do that, we may have to go into another level of reserve funds for the first time. We have two levels of reserve funds. There's money in the if you look at the balance sheet at the very back of the report, we have money for an operating reserve that amounts to money from past deficits and expenses in the budget. And we would be spending all of that as far as this proposed budget is concerned. The second level of reserve is money that we have squirreled away as investment income, as investments for which we get income. That's called the Board Investment Fund that comes from money that we had in bequests in the last several years. We have that invested along with the endowment money. We make money from those investments that make a substantial contribution to the budget. If we have to dip into that actual fund for another $10,000, it would be the equivalent of taking 6% of that investment money rather than 4%. So I think that's manageable. The problem will be in the coming year, after this one, a year from now, where we don't have those reserves anymore on the balance sheet. If we're looking at another $40,000 or $50,000 deficit, then we're in real trouble. So I think we're okay for the time being, but we're not in the position we really like to be in terms of deficit spending, and the federal money's going away, and we're going to have to find some other solution. Hopefully, lots of new members, and that would be very helpful. We've been losing members over the last couple of years. So that's where we are. The proposed budget is in your booklet, and I have other budget information and so forth I can provide. I would like to have a motion to approve a budget that has a bottom line of $420,000 with assumed pledges of $270,000. Do I have such a motion? Jennifer, is there a second? I didn't see who that was, but okay. Kaylin. I can always count on Kaylin to vote for this budget. So we'll record that as a second. And thank you, Daniel. So with that, do we have discussion? All right. I'll take that as approval unless we want to have a formal vote. Yes, let's see what we have for.
No raised hands or comments from chat.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, we will, barring any further discussion, we will move this to a vote. So if you vote to approve the budget as proposed, please raise your hand, and could I get my counters in the audience to count here, and I'll confirm. I'll start the poll now. So if you're joining via Zoom, the poll is now open. Counters? All right, with that, the budget is approved for this coming year. Okay. Every week, while this is not a traditional service, it's our business meeting, we still want to take up an offering in support of our liberal religious values. Half of the loose currency in the offering plate is donated to a cause with a local presence, which advances important principles of Unitarian Universalism. Our Share the Plate recipient for May is Black and Pink, an open family of LGBTQ prisoners and free world allies who support each other. Their work toward the abolition of the prison industrial complex is rooted in the experience of currently and formerly incarcerated people. This organization responds through advocacy, education, direct service, and organizing. As offering plates are passed in the sanctuary, those online will find a donation link in the chat. And I invite you to give generously as the sanctuary singers sing A Time for Everything by Mark Hayes. keep hitting that. I'm so sorry. Okay. Thank you, choir, sanctuary singers. That was beautiful. Next on the agenda, we have our elections. Let me get this up on screen for folks at home again. All right. So the slate of folks eligible for election are in the meeting packet, but they're also listed here on the slide. We will be voting by slate for each of the positions except president-elect. That's just one person. I was quickly trying to look up procedure, so I'm going to ask the parliamentarian. I need to ask for calls from the floor 3 times, right? That's a thing. Okay, so we're going to move on to elections of president-elect. So far, we have Mark Luskatoff on the docket, but are there any other nominees from the floor for president-elect? They're like, no. Any other nominees from the floor? Also, Zoom, let's see what our chat says. Nobody in chat. One more time, any nominees from the floor for president-elect? If not, with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can launch the poll. Let's vote for Mark, you guys. All those in favor of electing Mark Luskatoff, please raise your hand. And I will start the poll online. Are we good, counters? All right, you can put your hands down. Any opposed? All right. With that, I'm going to end the poll and welcome Mark as our new president-elect. All right. Next up, we have the slate of the Board of Trustees. So on the slate, we have Barb Herring coming on for 3 years, Ian Shanklin coming on for 3 years, and John Ruska completing a term, someone else's term, for 2 years. Do I have any more nominees from the floor? Oh my gosh. Zoom and in person, can we not do this again? Sorry. All right. Second time, any more nominees from the floor? Raise your hand. Make a comment. Third time, any nominees from the floor for Board of Trustees? All right. If not, then we can move on to a vote for the slate. All those in favor for voting for the slate, please raise your hand, and I will launch the poll. right, hands down. Any opposed? With that, I will end the poll and welcome our new board members. All right, next we have our Right Relations Committee. We have 2 new people coming on. We have Kaylin Goldner committing for 2 years and Elaine Wells for 2 years. Do I have any more nominees from the floor for Right Relations Committee? All right, any more nominations? Going twice? Check in the chat. Not more nominations for Right Relations going thrice? All right. With that, I will open voting. Please vote if you would like to elect Kaylin and Elaine to our Right Relations Committee. I will stop sharing and start the poll. All right, hands down. Any opposed? And I think everyone's voted online. So with that, I'll end the poll and welcome our new members to the Right Relations Committee. Okay. Next, we have the elections of the trustees of the Capital Trust. So we are electing one new member, Jennifer Larson, and then we also have someone coming on to complete a term for 1 year, John Wagner. So once again, I will ask for nominations from the floor for the trustees of the Capital Trust. Going twice. Nominations from the floor for trustees of the Capital Trust. 3 times a charm. Any nominations from the floor or from Zoom chat? Seeing none, I will stop sharing and open voting. All those in favor of electing those 2 folks to our Capital Trust? And I will start the poll. We good, voters or counters? All right, you can put your hands down. Any opposed? With that, welcome our new trustees of the Capital Trust. All right, and last time, I think it's the last time. Oh, I skipped one. Nominating committee. Thank you. I was like, where's my slide? Okay, so for the nominating committee, we are going to be electing, well, I shouldn't say it like that, I guess. So far, nominees are Ed Kelly for 3 years and Linda Parker for 3 years. Do I have any more nominees for the nominating committee from the floor? All right. Checking chat. Any more nominees for the nominating committee? Okay, and our third time. Any more nominees from the floor for the nominating committee? All right, now that we got that out of the way, all those in favor of electing Ed Kelly and Linda Parker, please raise your hand. I will launch the poll for those of you online. All right, you can put your hands down. Any opposed? With that, let's welcome our new nominating committee members. Awesome. At this time, I would like to recognize a few folks for their completion of terms on the board. If you're here, would you mind standing if I call your name? Otherwise, if you're on Zoom, just give a little wave. But I would like to recognize Bill Toll for completion of 3 years on the board. Peg Pigeon for completion of not only 3 years, but she came back on as a sub for 1 year, so snaps for Peg. And also, please, Diana Bird, who came on as a sub for 1 year as well. And I know there are other folks coming off of other committees. I do not have all your names listed. I apologize, but thank you for your service as well. With that, I will pass it over to Katrina Schmidt. She is the chair of our nominating committee for volunteer recognition and presentation of annual awards.
All right. So to begin with, before we present these awards, I want to say there's lots of people who could have gotten any number of awards, and there's lots of people every year that could get these awards. And we see you, we recognize you. These are just some of the people that we are presenting this year. So please be aware that we recognize there are tons of people doing wonderful things. So to begin with, we're going to present the Unitarian of the Year Award to recognize an individual who has made a difference in our congregation over the past year. So go ahead, Oliver, if you'd like to come up. Present that.
Hey everyone. Very different to be on this side of the mic for once. Over the past year, I have been working on updating our church's technology and streaming services. As I'm sure you know, a lot of work goes into that, from sound to video to projections and media and more. I can say with absolute certainty that we would not be half as far as we currently are without the immeasurable contributions of this person. He has spent a lot of time to research, recommend, install, assemble, and test much of the gear himself, devoting his time throughout the week, even when I have been unavailable. Volunteers like this person are truly rare to find. Only a handful of times have I encountered someone who is as dedicated, inquisitive, and knowledgeable as him. And when I have, they always have the energy to turn the entire outlook of a project around. His commitment to this church and its AV technicians has been fervent and unshakable. It's clear to me to see that for all the time and effort that is put forth, the reward is enjoyment, a love of his work, and the satisfaction of seeing our church thrive. That's the type of volunteer that this person is, and it's the type of volunteer we must hang on to and voice appreciation for wherever possible. To me, there's no more fitting choice for the UU community to show its appreciation and honor with this accolade. Thank you, and let's have a round of applause for
Lloyd Olson. So our next award is the Youth of the Year Award to recognize an individual ages 13 through 17 who has contributed to our church and community. I'm going to invite Ryan to present that.
Of course, my phone wants to mess up when I need it most. Okay, so I got here, there's some sort of mix-up with who's going to present. So it was me and Ben Stallings. So we both wrote our own things, and then Ben Stallings got sick. So I'm here right now. I'm going to tell you first Ben's, and then I'll get over to mine. So if it feels a little bit redundant, that's why. Okay, this is Ben's. Part of what I love about volunteering with YRU is getting to watch kids become the adults they will be for the rest of their lives. Liam Wigg has already been a thoughtful young man at the age of 15 when I first met him. But this year he's grown to a leader of the best YRU traditions. He always makes sure everyone in the group gets a chance to speak. And then his own opinion, he gives his own opinion, often that includes and transcends what other people have said. We should all be proud of what we should all be proud to be part of the village that helped raise him. I am pleased to present Liam Wigg, and I personally thought. Liam, wrong person. Liam, I think your family casts a long shadow in this church. It's a very, very positive thing. That's not a critique. I realized I was saying long shadow, and I thought that sounded kind of bad, but your family is amazing. And while your family's done awesome contributed incredibly to our church, I feel like it must be a huge weight to bear. And you've mentioned that you're coming back because you want to come back. You have to come back because of your who your mother is and who your grandmother is and all that stuff. And we all know who your grandmother is if you've been here long enough. Your grandmother was an awesome, awesome human being, and we're all thankful we got to meet her. I do hope, though, that you come back because you want to, not because you feel you have to. You've definitely made a shining beacon for all the kids here. I'm going a little bit off my paper here. Liam, when you go off to college, get in some good trouble. You need to get in trouble more. You are too good of a person. So please, in college, get in good trouble. Protest something where you get called into a dean's office or something. It's okay for a little bit of trouble. So please do that, but please come back to us. I think you are an awesome human being. You're an awesome individual. You are a great leader. This year especially, I was worried about who's going to take up the mantle. Some years you can kind of tell, okay, this person's going to, but you've really done an amazing job this year of leading these kids. You've definitely fostered a positive atmosphere for all of YU, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all you've done.
Yeah, and give it to him. That was just so beautiful. That was so beautiful. All right, our next is the Young Adult of the Year Award. The Young Adult of the Year Award is to recognize an individual 18 to 35 who has played a vibrant and critical part of our community. And I get to present this. I spoke to her husband as well, and I feel like there's one thing I'm missing. So at the end, if someone wants to add to this, please do. Just raise your hand. So this young adult has been an integral part of our community in many ways. She has run our main fundraising event, the auction, organized countless meals and baby showers in the baby welcoming committee as part of the caring team, supported her husband who ran the Pagan Cups group, offering several time-consuming auction items, including an intricate shawl depicting the night sky, served on the nominating committee, and did this all with 2 to 3 small children, while at times working full-time and being either the treasurer or president of her local PTA. And if that wasn't enough, she's been a vital member of listening circles, the POPs group, parents of preschoolers, and community night. She's also supported members of our community so diligently that she and her husband welcomed a family, their child, and their 2 dogs into their home for over 3 months. She's a fantastic friend and someone I personally love to work with. Please welcome to the front our 2022 Young Adult of the Year, Sarah Schweitzer. Okay, our next award is the Heritage Award to recognize an individual or group who has made a significant contribution to preserving, understanding, and celebrating our Unitarian Universalist history.
Whew, all right, back up here. So this award, this award this year goes to someone who has worked behind the scenes for the past 5 years to preserve and protect the financial resources of this church. He was originally elected to the Capitol Trust the year the beloved Dean Christensen, who was also a trustee, passed away. He has said he was inspired by Dean and his commitment to the church and its well-being, as well as by Dean's acumen for investing. During his 5 years as a trustee, there were significant changes. The trust document was updated in 2018, accounting and reporting practices were revised, and investments were consolidated, first to a single brokerage and now to the UUA's Common Endowment Fund. Some of this member's contributions to the church have been quietly executed and may have gone unnoticed. Over the years, he has served anywhere from spreading mulch in the garden to helping with church cleanup and painting tasks. He has also served as a member of the finance team. His dedication, care, and concern for preserving the financial resources of the church during the past 5 years is deeply appreciated and acknowledged. And it is my pleasure to present the Heritage Award to Daniel Bird.
before we go on, I just want to take one moment to say that this couple here, Diana and Daniel, are just amazing. And I meant to say something about Diana, that she has done so much work for the nominating committee this year. It was unreal. So please just give a little round of applause for Diana. All right, our next award is the Religious Education Award to honor an individual who has made a significant contribution to religious education. And I'm inviting, we may not, I guess we may not present this, maybe? Oh, is Mary Kay on Zoom? Okay, go ahead, Mary Kay.
All right, so I am giving the award this year for religious education to Jessie Stallings, who unfortunately is not with us and at church because she was, I think, diagnosed with COVID. So she's a little under the weather, but I just want to mention all the wonderful things that she has done over the past few years in religious education, especially leading the youth and along with her husband, Ben. And she's done all of this. I know that probably about 3 years ago, she got her dissertation and works in therapy. So she's definitely very well qualified. She's been a really big supporter for all the teachers in the schools and working with the students and the children who have, to try and help them get through the trauma of this past pandemic. She's been there. I know these last couple years, she's also helped support her husband through some of his health challenges, and has done all this with a fantastic job. And she, stays in touch with Tri-Faith Initiative, always teaching about the different types of world religions, the things that we honor in our Unitarian Universalist tradition, and also paganism. So she's really great for, teaching the youth and even some of the adults here in the church, educating us about all the different religious traditions. And we want to thank her for all the time and effort that she's put in. I know I've seen her at church on Wednesdays, along with her husband, to help lead our youth. And thank you once again to Jessie. I know she's here on Zoom. I'm not sure if she's up to saying anything, but I'll hand it over to you. And thank you so much for everything that you've done for the church.
Thank you.
Hello? Oh, that was Jessie Stallings. Okay. The next is Keeping the Faith. It was established to recognize people who live by UU principles. It is presented to persons who have worked to keep Unitarian Universalism alive in their community and who touch the lives of congregation and community members in a positive way.
Gave me half my speech. Oh. Sorry, I'm kidding. Okay. All right. The Keeping the Faith Award recognizes those who live by UU principles and is presented to those who have worked to keep those principles alive in our community. Those who win this award have touched the lives of this congregation in a positive way. This year, our Keeping the Faith Award winner is a group that has taken up the difficult and trying task of keeping us all safe in this time of pandemic. They've worked to keep the weakest and the most compromised among us safe by staying on top of the CDC guidelines and recommendations and the numbers, determining the safest paths forward. When we can open up, when we can meet again with or without masks, when we can meet together and be together without restrictions. Our Keeping the Faith recipient this year is a group of mothers, homemakers, with their own homes and families to worry about and take care of. It's our very own COVID Safety Task Force. Jennifer Larson, Beth Conover, Diane Witham, Patricia Soto. Thank you for keeping us safe. Come get your award, ladies.
All right. Our Social Justice Award pays tribute to those who witness to the ideals of social justice and responsibilities so important to our UU heritage.
Our Social Justice Award winner today is Kim Donovan. She couldn't be here with us today, but I would still like to let you know all the things that she has done for our social justice community in Omaha. Kim's energy, her willingness to get involved, her genuine love for humanity, we, the members of the First Unitarian Church, nominated you to receive the Social Justice Award. I have the honor of presenting and doing what I would like to share, the contributions she has made. Let's start with the success of the UU for Vote and Stand Side of Love campaigns, which you are very active in. Kim, you have been vocal in the many social justice in Nebraska and Omaha for many years, and currently an active member of the Side of Love Committee. From the beginning, these issues surrounding the prison reform, Kim drafted and advocated for legislation for the Nebraska unicameral to give persons with criminal backgrounds a better chance at resuming a normal life by sealing records, thus removing obstacles that prevent ongoing employment. Kim's intellect and leadership comes from her heart. It has opened the eyes to many projects, especially race relations. One example is that she led the discussion on the Michelle Alexander book, The New Jim Crow. Lately, Kim has been part of time and energy with the Alternatives to Violence Project, or AVP, under the leadership of Suzanne King. As a member of the local reentry support team at the Community Correctional Center, Kim works directly with incarcerated persons to give them the tools they will need to deal with issues that could cause aggressive or violent behavior. With Kim's support adding to the community outings and the AVP program, which is both fun and encouraging and learning. Kim also, her work with the post-release of two incarcerated persons helped them to prepare for reentry into the community. Kim also makes a monthly contribution to the donations to our sister church, Clare Memorial Food Pantry. Kim, along with Sharon Collin, offer morning reflections, which anybody in this congregation can join on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which she leads, and it helps us start the day in peace and calm. Kim, you're a great friend, and I am deeply honored to present her with the Social Justice Award on behalf of this congregation.
It was really fun watching Terry Lynn work so hard on that. I learned so much about Kim through Terry Lynn. Our final award is the Unsung UU Award, which affirms those UUs whose actions inspire, support, and express Unitarian Universalism, but have not been previously recognized. The award is given to a person or group whose lifetime activities have made a significant contribution to the cause of Unitarian Universalism. I'm going to invite Donna Neff to present this.
This is going to be fun. I am so happy to be able to recognize my friend Terry Lynn Brewer as the 2022 Unsung UU of the Year. Terry Lynn joined our church on July 7th, 2007, so she is coming up on her 15-year anniversary as a member. Since that time, as Terry Lynn has told me many times, this church has become to her a family and her source of daily inspirations, support, and friendships. And she, in turn, I think, is an inspiration to us. Terry Lynn sets the bar pretty high for church attendance, as she has attended nearly every church service, I think, for years, whether in person or online. You'll often see her serving as a greeter or an usher, joining in the kids' stories, helping a worship associate with a reading, whatever she can do to help. She's active in many other church groups, especially those that feed her passion to learn as much as she can about our UU beliefs and histories, other religious traditions, spiritual practices, and social justice issues. This includes being an active member of the Women's Religious Studies, of the Atheist Humanist Agnostics group, her Soul Matters group, and Morning Reflections. On her own, she constantly reads books in these areas. The list is truly impressive. So consult her if you need a recommendation for a summer read. However, she likes to go deep and enjoys discussing whatever she is reading. I remember her selecting a book and bringing it home by Plato on a recent trip to the used bookstore. In addition to her knowledge, we recognize Terry Lynn for her caring heart. She's a member of the caring team and for years has been getting cards out for every major holiday year-round to those of our members who are elderly or housebound. And these are not generic cards. She makes these herself, designs them, prints them. And when we have a UU team in the Pride Parade, she's an enthusiastic participant, and she helps with many other volunteer things in the church as she can, most recently like the RE Spring Festival or Reverend Sherry's installation. I want to particularly highlight, though, Terry Lynn's passion for improving mental health services and support. She has been very open about her challenges with mental health, speaking about it from the pulpit, and leading UU teams for the annual fundraiser for NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Health. Here is my last NAMI t-shirt, and I think the color says it all for her enthusiasm. Most recently, Terry Lynn, as you can see, has been serving on the nominating committee, which is hard work. But I want you to know that she had nothing to do with her selection for this award. In fact, receiving it caused some procedures for recusing her from discussions and so forth. So, without any worries of voting irregularities in this election, please join me in honoring Terry Lynn for her inspiring example of living UU values in your life. May she not be unsung anymore. Congratulations, Terry Lynn.
Thank you, everyone. With that, I would like to invite Harold Cruz Sanchez for the passing of the gavel. Welcome, President.
Well, thank you everybody for being here today, online or on site. It's gonna be a new stage of the church where we are kind of coming together again, coming together to celebrate what we are, and we are looking forward. And with that, and with the new government, I will adjourn this meeting, and thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the work you are doing. Thank you for the volunteers, for all that have put together so we can continue. And I will give you a round of applause for the perseverance you are showing in the last 2 years that we have been in this unspeakable situation. So, with that in mind, let's hope for a better future. Thank you and adjourn.